What's up? In this video you'll find the best PvE and PvP add-ons, crystals, combos and skill locks from a 5-year Lahn main. I will be speaking for Khufu since his bum ass is still muted. Everything is time-stamped, feel free to skip ahead. This guide will focus on jump-starting new players and fresh tags. Those that wish to grind or PvP day one should gain a better understanding how the kit works in situations. Over this winter, I'll have a complete in-depth advanced guide covering everything in PvE from basic to endgame spots, how our combo changes accordingly, builds per spots, and how to handle the class in all PvP situations, 1v1, small scale, and large scale. PvE add-ons, general. PvE add-ons, human. PvE add-ons, endgame. Wow! Core crystal builds. In PvE swap vipers accordingly with your build. 800 accuracy is a good starting point for entry-level money spots like Sycria, Star's End and desert spots. 840 is a sweet spot for Elvia and Oddilita spots like Thornwood, Taros and Olens. Any spot such as Crypt, or Dekia, requires a Swampchair amount of accuracy above 900 and will be gone over further in the next guide. Season characters can get away with less, but I still recommend pushing crystal sooner than later for more cash per hour. We prioritize our corruptions and powers out the gate. Build on with Dark Fangs so we can avoid running spirit perfumes and save money. Next, a swiftness crystal for 5 out of 5 movement speed into our decimations, Hrads, Rebellious, and Gearin. Capped crystals call for HP. We are in fact among the most down gruesome classes sharing the same base DP stats of a ranger. We take HP for better trades. Running Quadalucas crystals is an option. 2 gallantry with 2 Hrad. The 2 red gins are ignore knockdown resistance. Lastly, the Bonniers are Cobelinus. Swap a second Cobelinus if you can spare a gin special evasion. These are our T3 and T4 caps. I don't run T1s or T2s, but I'd imagine this being our safest bet. Minus the siege crystals considering there are 0 siege weapons in T1's Omega Lull. I did not make this either, so take swaps with a grain of salt. Uncapped DR. Touching back on gruesomely down bad for DP, here we have the option to follow this set for balanced trading and higher survivability upon bombing. Optionally, if you're down to sacrifice yourself to the ping gods, swap out Rebellious for a red spirit, Heaty for a Bong Huang, 2 Jin ignore knockdowns for RBF Kamis and 2 Jin special evasions for. Gonna keep it a buck, you probably want these, but if you're into human combustion, take 2 ultimate Machalods. Full send tankiness. If we're on evasion to begin with, our playstyle switches off rat play into an immortal CC bot Sweat Lord. Evasion Lahn was a dated build nearing the end of 2021 and much of 2022, but with the recent crystal changes has made a nice return in 2023. I'll always stand by DR being Lahn's true potential in PvP, but now in small scale and 1v1 especially, Evasion Lahn shines in certain situations. With Sork-like gameplay, a good Evasion Lahn can live inside enemy bases during war or siege. Survivability is unprecedented between Z-axis utilization and her plus 5% evasion rate class passive. Combined with Primrose's plus 12%, evasion builds become a menace. She's also a useful pre-engage and skirmisher targeting high-priority players, which in some cases, most classes would be unable to reach. PvE Combos. Let's make this brain dead easy. Good suck Lahn PvE consists of 3 things. The combos, mobility, and cancels. Most grind spots outside of endgame call for 0 cancels. That's 2 of 3 things, we're up huge. As of August 2023, with changes to Fatal Attraction chaining off Bleeding Hearts and White Heron, we now have a fixed playstyle instead of running out of skills or simply spamming Netherflower off cooldown. The kit can now be played with a few different approaches, though this method seemed to show the best results for me personally. Part 1, Shift Q Combo. Always start with our side RMB, AP pre-buff into Q buff cancel. Keep these two buffs up mid-combo accordingly. Shift A or D into Shift Q for buffs and debuffs. Cancel one hit of F while holding F for its full animation. Now we are full buffed. Weave in, holding RMB and top off with LMB plus RMB. Part 2, now that Salpuri is on cooldown, we look to Bleeding Hearts and White Heron both, since they now flow insanely well with each other. Keeping our AP and Q pre-buffs up, follow part 1, but instead of debuffing with Shift Q we do the following: C into White Heron hotbar, Shift LMB back into part 1. As we get more comfortable we can weave in a first hit of Crescent Barrage and Blade Dance between skills. Upon reaching high-end grinds, or when mobs simply become tanky, we take Eye of the Phoenix in our add-ons. Now we have a cancel. Simply weave spacebar on the front end of any combo every 5 seconds to retain max DPS. Eye of the Phoenix is best used out of Shift A or D, Phantom Dance. Keep Q buff up for increased AoE range, considering Eye of the Phoenix is a close quarters small AoE. Basic mobility. Primrose, or Shift S, is our go-to iframe, great for escaping out after a dive bomb. Even though we will WF, there will be times during Nimbus Stride and Nimbus Flow when we simply have to WF to extend our flight. Using WF here will not count as a cooldown on Spring Breeze. Weave in Chase and Eyes of Blood for more mobility. Vertical flight mobility. While this will blow your load early, vertical flight chaining can secure a quick reposture for diving long ranges or reaching cliffs just out of reach. Use wisely during large scale, as chances are you will have Primrose, but no Nimbus, while escaping danger. PvP time.
Let's a fucking
Pendulum Kick. Pen Kick has an unprotected gap on cast for a total of 3 animations. Backloaded DPS, main damage from 3rd hit. Lingers super armor until our pendulum swing animation is finished. Mouse movable for catching and reposturing on targets. Cymbidium. No gap on cast but for a total of 4 animations. Cymbidium has a 180 degrees frontal guard on first 3 hits following super armor on 4th hit. Risky in large scale due to its lack of SA, dive confidently and take awareness of our surroundings when planning to DPS with Cymbidium. Highest DPS of our cores. Backloaded DPS, main damage from 4th hit. Bound on first hit. Mouse movable for changing frontal protection in situations like a Stealth's block jump, Dark Knight's Camus Sylvia Slash, or Sork's Nightmare. Can flow Cymbidium plus LMB plus mouse move for a bound catch in these instances. Blade Dance. Unprotected gap on cast with 2 separate animations. Backloaded DPS, main damage from 2nd animation. Lingers super armor until our pendulum swing animation is finished. Blade Dance is a solid stiff catch when other cores have cooldowns, can CC cap after 2 knockdowns and guarantee kills on 1s and 2s, sometimes skirmishes. Lifting off RMB, after first animation will proc lingering super armor. Built-in plus 20% accuracy rate, useful against gauntlets, woozers, general evasion builds, etc. Mouse movable. Blooming Nether Flower. Avoid slow cast when possible. Nether chains off other skills like Cymbidium. Highest max hit skill of our kit, heals great with grim and draining elixirs. Mistaken for its high DPS in PvE, Nether is a back-ended skill in our PvP combo more often than not. Add-ons set up for Nether to act as a top-off for cleaning up balls and 1s and 2s. Backloaded DPS. Often used as moving and lingering SA protection when kiting or reposturing. Can cancel wind up animation with LMB plus RMB, lift off LMB while holding RMB. Instead of cutting through targets we will nether in place, useful for prioritizing back attacks or quickly securing situational kills. Salpure Purge. In large scale CC engage. AoE performs best while Q buffed. Acts as our main buffer and debuffer. T3 add-on availability. Fatal Attraction. Even though Fatal is not super armor, the new Abyssal skill found a home in our kit in late 2022, making dive bombs that more satisfying. Frontal Guard. Often acts as our secondary debuffer. Instant casts off Sal Puree, making the two combined a solid DPS chunk. Great for back attack reposition. Nimbus Stride. Nimbus by itself, without adding WF, will land in super armor and linger but leave us animation locked. Additional super armor lingers can be found on screen. Chained correctly will proc an infinite protection loop. Blade of Blood is among one of the longest lingers in the game, paired with others like Sacred Dance and now Bleeding Hearts. These secondary protections leave us with multiple options when recovering stamina or kiting. Until the advanced guide drops, and apart from what's covered here, our overall best bet in learning large-scale Lahn PvP is watching Ham wipe the server. Here's a montage about it. Smile.